Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Welcome to our latest Z2A podcast with me, Mark, and Jules from the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox.
Hello and welcome.
This is where we pick a letter and a topic and discuss how you can use our tools to improve your own personal development and life. So the big moment of the week is always, what is a letter?
Hey, this is the most exciting bit of the whole podcast. And this week we have chosen the letter C for cultivate. The theme at the moment is all about time management. We are going to explore ways of how you can cultivate a growth mindset, particularly around your study.
At the Future Toolbox, being mindset coaches, we talk loads about growth mindsets and changing fixed mindsets to growth mindsets. So this is a topic that we are so passionate about. And if you follow a little track, how you think is really, really important, because how you think affects what you do next, and then what you do next affects what your result is. So it's how I think affects how I act, which affects what I get. It's a state behaviour result loop.
It is, and the thoughts that you have, it's the language, it's the words that you're using that make the difference.
Yeah, so for example, if you're saying, I'm not very good at, I'm rubbish at, or this is really, really hard, or I can't do this, then all you're doing is you're just telling your brain that that's it. It's over. We're going to stop this process right now. And then that becomes really hard to get back on track. And that also affects confidence. And then if confidence is low, your belief's low, then your result is going to be very, very low as well. And your actions are probably not going to happen, are they?
No, that's very true. Often, if you've got the fixed mindset of the negativity, you're not going to view challenges as opportunities to grow. And that's the difference between the fixed and the growth, is when you're faced with a challenge or maybe a setback, it's how you go about changing that and how you view it. And that's what we're saying, it's the language that you're using, whether you're using positive or negative, will affect your outcome.
Over the years at Future Toolbox, we've worked with thousands and thousands of schools. We've met loads of students and teachers. On the other side, we've seen people start their first jobs, maybe as teenagers or new graduates. And of course, we've worked with lots of adults who have been working for years or run their own businesses or whatever. And people always ask the question, so how do you embrace a growth mindset? Or how do you achieve the goals that you want in life? How do you stay positive?
How do you cultivate?
How do you cultivate it? Absolutely. Why do you think people have a fixed mindset, say when they're in education or in work or in business?
It can be for lots of reasons. It could be that somebody's told you somewhere as you've been growing up that you're not very good at that. And often it'll only take one person or one possibly teacher or family member to say something like that to you. That then becomes your belief. And that is the language that you're using to yourself and saying, I'm not very good at that. I can't do that. And then that sticks with you, and that's really hard to change.
Yeah, the belief system is really powerful. I'm going to use an example. When I was at school, my music teacher said to me, well, if you can't read music, therefore you can't do music, you're not very good at it, and you're going to find this really, really hard. And that was my belief system all throughout my school, was I can't do music, I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, so therefore I won't do it. And I didn't. And that's my belief system up until a few years ago. But there's also the fact that the peer pressure and the imposter syndrome kicks in. Wherever you are, unless you are the absolute best number one top person, there's always going to be somebody better than you.
Absolutely. I often still have imposter syndrome in a number of things that I'm still currently doing. For example, I'm quite happily playing padel, but when you put me in with what I call the big guys, and they're the top players, immediately I'm like, oh, they're better than me, I can't do this, I'm not as good as them. And I have to fight with myself for about 30 seconds before I can say, Jules, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can do this. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to beat me with a shot. But that is the worst that's going to happen. And very often I can return the ball and I can win a shot.
That is a real battle sometimes, looking at somebody who's better than you, especially if you're starting something new.
Yeah.
You're always going to see somebody who's better than you. So you start a new job, you're going to see the manager who's been there for quite a number of years. you're in school, there's going to be somebody who's better at that particular subject than you, unless you are top of the class. It's good to try and learn from those people.
Also, it's good to understand what kind of mindset best describes you at this moment. So, for example, a couple of questions that you can ask yourself to think, right, well, you might think I've got a positive growth mindset, or you might think, no, I'm completely fixed. But answer these questions to yourself. When you're faced with a challenging task, do you give up out of frustration, or do you put in some extra effort to accomplish the task? Which one of those do you do? So if you immediately give up, or try once or twice and then give up out of frustration, or do you put in that extra effort? Obviously, if you give up, you haven't quite got that growth mindset yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? The failure is only when you actually stop and when you say, right, I'm never doing that again, quit and remove that from your life completely. And again, failure doesn't have to be permanent.
No.
Because again, going back to the music thing, and you mentioned racket sports, I was rubbish at both of them at school. And I just put them on hold until 30 odd years later, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it is never too late to start learning something. But it's probably better to look at cultivating the growth mindset straight away. If that's something you definitely want to do, then ask yourself that question.
When you're answering that question, then look at it and think to yourself, okay, do you view your mistakes as a result of your limited ability, or do you see it as an opportunity to learn and grow? Now, obviously, if you think that your mistakes is because you're useless, then you're going to have that fixed mindset and you're never going to grow unless you change it. But if you see your mistakes as an opportunity to learn and grow, you've clearly got a good positive growth mindset and you will grow. And again, looking at the padel in the early days, it was mistake after mistake after mistake. You know, it is quite hard to pick yourself up each time and think, right, okay, I'll try again. Today at padel, I was called the return machine.
You were.
Because people used to serve at me so fast and I could never return them, or they'd hit a great shot and I'd really struggle. But I've kept on it and I've practiced and I'm now called the return machine.
The
That's
return
amazing.
machine.
So yeah.
But it is very, very true. You can look at your weakness and you can say, well, I'm rubbish at that. And again, using the paddle example, I used to be rubbish at my backhand. And I'd say, oh, my backhand is rubbish. Then I had to change my mindset very quickly and think, right, okay, I'm not hitting very good backhand shots. How can I improve my backhand? And then I asked somebody, how do I improve my backhand? And now people say, your backhand's brilliant. We both have improved something massively there. You actually remove what it is that we're doing. We're talking about paddle and just put it into what you're doing. Oh. So this could be a subject that you're studying at school. It could be a business plan, a marketing plan. It could be something you're doing at work, or just something you're doing in your own spare time. How can I improve? How can I learn? How can I take a step forward?
Yeah. How can you cultivate a growth mindset? So here are just a few tips that we think are very good for cultivating this growth mindset. And as we've just mentioned, view those challenges as an opportunity to grow and actively seek out challenges that will actually enrich your competence or your understanding. Looking at the paddle, it really was playing with those people that are better, that generally at the beginning we wouldn't have gone near because of that whole, I can't do this. Actually playing with those and learning from them.
And it's that overused phrase that we hear a lot of just stepping outside your comfort zone and thinking, I'm going to play with somebody who's better than me. I'm going to learn from somebody who's better than me. They're probably going to show me up a little bit. I'm going to make some mistakes that might slightly embarrass me, but it's how you move on from that mistake. Right, I've made that mistake. I might make it again. How can I stop making that mistake? How can I improve? Or even asking the person who's firing the shots at you, how can I return your shot? Because most people will actually help you with that, won't they?
They will. It's with everything in life the same. So cultivating a study growth mindset, which is along the lines of if you're trying to learn something new, whether you've just started school and you really, really want to get ahead this year. One of the things that I think is quite key is prioritise your learning over somebody telling you, oh, wow, you're brilliant at that, or over your grades. Prioritise the actual physical learning, the craft that you're trying to do. That is key. So for instance, reward yourself if you do something and you can see that your level of effort and learning is increasing. Say yes, it's not about getting that grade, it's that learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, this could even be your weakest subject, which you haven't really enjoyed in the past. And again, we encourage students to look at what they're studying at the moment and think, right, okay, I've got a year left of this GCSE or this course or this A-level or whatever it is, and think, this time's going to pass. How can I get the best from it? If it's a course that you're behind on or something you're failing on, instead of saying, right, I'm going to give up and I'm going to go to that lesson, I'm going to really resent everything I'm doing there and the teachers are paying because they make me do this and everybody else is better than me, just think, okay, how can I just improve a little bit? How can I enjoy the time that I'm there? How can I just learn one thing from this? As Jules is just saying, you might not pass the grade, you might not get the best grade, but it is looking at that step forward. What one thing can I take away from this lesson?
Yeah, so it's about really setting learning orientated goals to learn what it is that you want to master rather than performance orientated goals for achievement. We're big fans of setting goals, but yeah, set the goal on what it is that you want to learn.
Yeah, I like that. That's really, really good. It's about that one little takeaway, as we're saying. For example, I was learning some stuff on the guitar the other week and I had about 5 or 6 things I want to learn. I couldn't learn them all in one go, so I'm just going to pick one of them. What can I improve on today when I'm sitting down for 10 or 15 minutes practicing? So yeah, that's a really, really good one. I like that.
It is good. Whilst talking about cultivating the study growth mindset, your concentration needs to be on that process instead of the outcome or the end result. Because unfortunately, in schools, everybody is geared up to getting that end result of whatever that GCSE, the A-level result. But if you concentrate on the process in choosing learning well as opposed to learning fast so you can get there, then you will get there with a better quality of learning and understanding and knowing your subject.
We've always been fans of enjoying the journey, and I've certainly found that with running as well. I love doing a race, I love completing a race, but the training, you've got to enjoy the training to do it.
Yeah.
There's no point in doing something if you're not going to enjoy the journey on the way there. I know, of course, there's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be things that are going to be hard along the way. If you want to go on a nice beach holiday in another country, you've got to get on the flight to get there, but you've also got to leave home and get on the motorway to get to the airport. And those bits aren't the exciting bits, but you've still got to enjoy the journey and think, how can I enjoy this journey? How can I get excited about driving down the motorway to the airport or being on the bus or whatever way you're getting there?
Yeah, learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are not bad. Failures are not bad. You're learning. You think, right, okay, I didn't get that right. What was it that I can improve on that will make my learning or what it is that I'm trying to achieve easier and better so that it becomes second nature? Take a moment possibly to look at what it is that hasn't gone as well as you wanted and where can you take the learning and what can you do to improve and who can you go to ask to help you improve, because sometimes you can't just do it on your own. You need support from other people.
I guess we've talked quite a lot about the actual thought process there, and we've talked about not focusing on the end goal. If we go back to that start point where we said the state, behaviour, results, the state is the way you think, the behaviour is the way you act, and the result is what you get at the end of it. We're saying there's a little bit in the middle there, the behaviour, and the behaviour comes down to what we talked a little about in the last episode, which was planning and preparation. And the theme of this month is about time management as well. Now, time management, I remember hearing somebody say a little while ago, you can't manage time because time will pass anyway. And controversially, they may be right, actually, because you can't manage time, but you can plan your time more effectively.
Absolutely.
There's always that statement where people talk about busy idiots and say people run around being so busy, being really, really important, but don't actually achieve things because they're getting so into what they're doing and thinking, I'm busy, I'm important, but they're actually ineffective.
Yeah.
And if they step back, and what would normally take them 2 hours could take them an hour to do, or even 10 or 15 minutes to do, that actually would make their time a lot more effective. So time management and time effectiveness can be a real key into achieving the things that you want on the growth mindset. And that also goes back to that point where too many people say, well, I can't do that, I'm too busy, I haven't got time, there's not enough hours in the day or not enough days in the week or whatever. We've mentioned this quite a few times. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, don't we? How do some people achieve stuff and others don't? And this has got to be down to the planning and the time management.
It is your planning and time management, and developing that schedule can help ensure to make sure that you have got enough time to devote to your studying, whatever it is that you're trying to do so that you can succeed in achieving your goals. And if you can master managing your time, the benefits really are unbelievable. There's loads of them. First of all, it decreases your stress levels, because you actually can see yourself achieving the things that you want to do. Whereas before, if you hadn't planned it properly, you felt like you were constantly battling against time and everything else. But if you've planned it and you've got enough time, it's less stressful.
And we go back to study mindset. This is a really, really hard task to manage, isn't it? Because everything in school is on a timetable.
Yeah.
You've got to be here at this time. You've got to be there at that time. You've got to travel from lesson to lesson. You've got to catch up with your friends. You've got to do the things that you don't like doing. There's all the rules. There's almost too much noise in the education system. That pushes then onto people's jobs, and that pushes on into people's further education as well. And then if you're a business owner and you're the one running the company, you can also become a victim of just being far too stressed and far too busy. And it is sometimes about taking a step back and thinking, right, okay, what is it I want to achieve? And then making that plan and putting that time management plan together.
Yeah. Another benefit of good time management is it gives you more energy for free time. And let's face it, everybody's saying, I haven't got time to go and do this and play padel or whatever it is because I'm too busy. But if you are good with your time management, it'll give you more energy and more free time. And how good is that for your whole mental health?
And I guess with improved energy, what also will follow is improved focus, and improved focus will lead you towards achieving that goal and that outcome that you want to achieve. That then leads to positivity within your life. And then when you achieve those outcomes, that makes you feel really, really good.
So yeah, learning time management can only improve all of your outcomes. So your focus, the quality of your work, it can improve your self-discipline, which then improves your confidence, your self-esteem. So learning to manage your time, the benefits are immense.
And that leads to cultivating a growth mindset. Now, people are going to ask us, how do I cultivate this growth mindset? And we've just bombarded lots of tips into this podcast here, but we certainly have loads more tools. If you go to our website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, you can also divert yourself to the shop. And there's our books, Don't Get Your Neck Tattooed and Smart in Your Study, which are also available in online programs. Reach out to us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can find us on LinkedIn because we are
just everywhere.
We are everywhere. Indeed we are. So keep cultivating, keep sowing those little seeds, because the little seeds do grow into big trees at some point, but it does take a long time for that tree to actually flourish. So keep watering it and keep feeding those growth mindsets, and think about what actions you're going to take to move yourselves forward closer to your goals. And we look forward to catching you in the next episode.
We do indeed, and good luck with cultivating your study growth mindset.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.